For those of you who have been with us over the past years, you know that we have talked about ataxia in the past, and John and Dana have always come on to help tell us about it. And John, how many years ago did you get this diagnosis now?
It's probably about 9 years now.
About 9 years, and of course at the time, and I was certainly among those when you first came on and we first started talking about it, I think, I'm asking how do I pronounce it to make sure that I get it right. I mean, it was just something that the people really hadn't heard of. Through your efforts and the efforts of Senator Mike Moore and others, because of the work that you have done, National Ataxia Day coming up on September 25th, this awareness has been raised in Massachusetts. Tell me just a little bit about that, about how much more awareness you feel there is. Long way to go, I understand, but more awareness today certainly than there was when you were diagnosed.
Yeah, Hank, there's a huge difference. The first year we had a fundraiser trying to get out, and we constantly were hearing what was ataxia. It was a battle, so we really had to get out and to create awareness through any way that we could. I built ice castles in malls, or cooking for ataxia at events, and it was a way to teach people the word ataxia, to make them hear it. And now, where I go to some place and I ask maybe for participation in our event, they'll say to me, "Oh, I've heard something you've done," and that's making it easier for them for me to get people behind us.
Okay, still plenty of people who don't know what ataxia is. Give us just a quick overview of what ataxia is.
Ataxia is a neurological disease. It affects people's balance, motion, swallowing, speech.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I don't know, I mean, akin to some of the other neurological diseases out there, but different. As I recall, I mean, they had a kind of a hard time in the beginning even kind of pinning down what exactly you had.
Correct. There are well over 30 types of ataxia. One of probably the biggest known one is Friedrich's, and there are spinobellar ataxia, there are many others. Right now I am classified as a cerebellar ataxia, sort of an unknown, because they haven't really developed the genes to narrow this down to exactly what is causing it.
I have to say, you look great. I mean, right? I mean, you really do.
Yeah, and that's the question I get all the time. You look great, and how are you feeling? And
he'll lie to you. He won't really tell you how he's feeling.
It's really a challenge every day. It's an invisible disease. If I was in a wheelchair, people could understand it better because I'm not. To walk to a door I stray way over to the right. I gotta repivot. I'm in a grocery market. I'm trying to walk the aisle. I'm bumping into people and.
Well, I'm just looking at your shirt. So it took me probably all of 5 seconds today to button my cuffs. I know from past conversations took you a little longer.
It took me over a half hour just to get my shirt on, and I was almost out of breath. And when it came to my socks, I said forget it, because to hold the feet still and get the socks on. These are simple things that we take for granted.
I thought it was a fashion statement. It's good. No, you're pulling it off.
To brush your teeth, the toothbrush is coming out of your mouth, and you're missing yourself, and that's part of the neurology test.
But you do it too, and I've got to believe that you do it because the day that you aren't kind of fighting to put on the shirt and taking that half hour. I mean, it proves that it's still going, and like I said, I mean things look good. Dana, John had said earlier, and I had mentioned about the fact 9 years ago and learning about it, but the word is getting out. You're a big part of that, right?
By default, yes.
Yeah. Well, no. But I mean, you're sort of. I mean, the face. There are people over in on different continents who look forward to your podcast.
Well, it's funny because I was sitting in the backyard last August and I thought to myself, we've got International Ataxia Awareness Day coming up. My friends don't even know what ataxia is. They really don't know how it impacts John. How can I explain it to them? And I'm in training for a profession, and one of the things I know is that you have to keep it in small sound bites, otherwise people lose attention. So I thought, well, if I could give a fact a day, like under 2 minutes, and just give 25 facts leading up to International Ataxia Day, maybe someone would remember one thing. And that was my goal. So I said, okay, I'm going to just take my iPhone, I'm going to film myself saying one fact a day. And John, who never does anything small, his motto is go big or go home. He's like, oh, no, we can't do that. So next thing I know, I have a production studio in my house, and he's videotaping me, and he's uploading it to Twitter and YouTube. And before you know it, we had like 10,000 hits a day in like 17 different countries. People were emailing me, thanking me for giving them a voice. Because
where else can they get the information? I mean, there really was nowhere else. We just mentioned, and you just mentioned it again, International Ataxia Day coming up on the 25th. We had talked earlier about, 9 years ago, you were doing all these fundraisers. Next fundraiser is coming up on October 3rd?
Right, October 3rd at Lemansky Field. And it's going to be registration from 9 to 10 in the morning, and then the walk is actually going to be from 10 to 12.
How many years for the walk now?
This is our eighth year.
This is our eighth year.
For the walk. I mean, that's really the main fundraiser.
It is. And this year, actually, Hank, what we had hoped is to raise the number of people that are coming. We're not as much interested in raising funds, although that's always something that we aim to do. We want the awareness to be a bigger piece of it. So we're hoping to get like 500 people there. So we're trying like heck to just get the word out about the walk.
Yeah.
The Ataxian 500.
The Ataxian 500. I like that. That's it. It's good. So I mean, so it's kind of a fundraiser. It's not just a fundraiser, but you really do need people to get out there and help spread the word. That's a big part of it. Actually, recently you were honored, and boy, when you stand next to Robert Kraft, that raised, boy, talk about raising awareness. That's high profile. What was that day like?
Yeah, that was really awesome. It was a very good friend of mine, Mauro, who put in a nomination for volunteerism, and she listed everything that we have done, and we did win, and we had the potential of winning from $5,000 to $25,000. We did receive the $5,000 one, which is just happy to be with all 25 people that do great things in the community.
That is great. Where's that money go? I mean, this $5,000 or the money raised at the walk, where does that go towards?
It goes towards ataxia research, and it's like 90% of it goes towards research, which is pretty phenomenal. Nice. Yeah. And one thing I just would like to comment on about the whole Patriots organization and what Bob Kraft is doing with this. He's carrying on Myra's legacy, and he's doing a phenomenal service to those players that he has on his team, because he's teaching them something about life that is just irreplaceable. So, I mean, all of his players are very involved in efforts like this, and they serve their community, and I just think that's an awesome thing.
No, it's great to have that, to give back to the community. I mentioned Senator Michael Moore because I know that he was on with you last year talking about, trying to bring some attention to National Ataxia Day, International Ataxia Day. Who else? I mean, what are some of the other partners that you have had who maybe are helping in these efforts and helping get the word out? And it does seem as if that's crucial.
Yeah, it's very important.
It's a small list.
Is it? Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. So that needs to grow. It's
been the Patriots. Mike Moore has been behind us the whole way. He's doing a few things this week. Unfortunately, couldn't make it today. You yourself, just having us on the show for over 7 years has been incredible. Other than that, it's just
XLO.
XLO.
They do some help. They help us out.
So I mean, but that's really it. So I mean, so that sort of needs to grow. And I know we've talked about this in the past, because you talk about how just the webcam, what's the word I'm searching for? The video blog has kind of taken off. It shows that there's a need. I mean, people are interested in this and want to find out more, and they can't get this information anywhere else. I don't know what you kind of do to help gain that awareness, but clearly that's one of the next steps as well. But again, I go back 9 years ago, and boy, really no one knew about
we had
it
30
all.
people at our first event. Last year we were close to over 300.
Yeah.
I think that's how we will get the recognition, is to get 500 to 1,000 people. Now we'll start to make people look at us, the media, the people in the community.
Boy, we've got just 1 minute left, so I want to make sure that we focus on what you want to focus on, and we'll get the word out again. Obviously, October 3rd, we want people to show up. Over this last decade, how far has it come? I mean, are we closer today to finding some answers than we were 9 years ago when you were diagnosed?
Yeah, it's really incredibly how far we have come, and yet there's still a long ways left. We've recognized more genes today. There are more breakthroughs with treatments to give a better quality of life, to slow down the progression in some of the ataxias, and some, they haven't. But it has. There are some really great things out there coming all over the country that people are really focusing on.
And then we're pushing this year, and I'm doing the 25 days, a fact a day again this year. It's not going to be quite 25 days, but one of the things we're focusing on is we're trying to get people involved in this organization. It's a CORDS registry, and it's for rare diseases, and we're trying to encourage the ataxia population to sign up for this.
Oh, terrific. Yeah. We have like 10 seconds left. Where can people see you? I mean, what do I plug in? Do I just Google it, or?
You can actually Google a fact a day.
Fact a day.
Yep.
For ataxia.
Or rideforjohn.com.
And rideforjohn.com. Terrific. And of course, we'll see everybody on October 3rd. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Hank Stolz Experience.